Bangaluru, a city where millions come to work hard and make a success of their careers.
Good morning, everyone.
Among these millions is Jayashree Kunju. Jayashree runs a coaching institute that specializes in global management programs.
The role that you have in the management level case study is what? You are the financial manager and the company.
Her classes are invaluable to students who aspire to achieve success in their fields. On first impression, Jayashree seems like any other metropolitan resident. After work, she returns to a loving husband, a happy family, and friends. It's a regular life, just like so many others. But Jayashree knows that many don't think so.
It may seem that I have the most normal life, but it was not always so. When I was about 20, I contracted leprosy, and that turned my life completely upside down. At that point of time, I had no clue that it's a very simple disease. In fact, it's such a simple disease that one can get cured with just taking a couple of medication over a period of time. My family was very supportive, but there was this thing about not speaking about the disease. So I was getting treated, but I wouldn't speak about the disease, and neither would my family discuss the issue with me. I remember something, my father used to always call me brave. And then when I got leprosy, my father wrote a letter to a relative saying she's an unfortunate girl. That was the view, that disease which is curable made me from a brave girl to an unfortunate girl. Even before the doctor gave me the diagnosis test, I went to the library and read up about the disease. And then when I saw those symptoms, it was like leprosy was already inside me, that word, and then the symptoms kind of corroborated that yes, indeed I have this disease. So I remember as if I felt the earth slipping away from under my feet. I just knew that my life has changed forever. The prejudice attached to this disease is so rampant that people with this disease, are thrown out of their homes. And not only that, even cured people are actually thrown out of their homes and societies and not allowed to come back. That is why I was delighted when Sasakawa India Leprosy Foundation approached me and asked me whether I could be a part of a film which is talking about leprosy. And this is an NGO which works to eradicate the stigma around the disease, and they also are helping people to get rehabilitated. I am going to take a journey across India to meet these people and their families, to spend some time with them.
Jayashree has decided to begin her journey in a leprosy settlement in interior Chhattisgarh. She flies to the state capital Raipur, from where a train takes her deep upcountry. It's an important journey for Jayashree, and she has decided to record her observations on social media. She wonders what lies in wait for her. It takes Jayashree a day and a half to reach the settlement called the Arunodaya Kusht Parisar Ashram. This settlement is typical of many like it across the country. Throughout India, many leprosy patients are segregated from mainstream society and have little option but to move to places like these called leprosy colonies. What makes it more tragic is that society rejects their children and any other family members living in the colony, regardless of whether they have leprosy or not. Children are not welcome in local schools. Even if they do manage to get admission, they are separated from the other kids.
जब ये कॉलोनी बैठाए राज्यपाल महोदय ने, उस समय जितने भी यहाँ आए थे, सब के सब एक तो कुष्ठ रोग से पीड़ित थे, दूसरा अधिकांश भीख मांग के अपना गुजारा चला रहे थे। आज के डेट में बहुत ज़्यादा परिवर्तन हो चुका है उनमें।
But the people of this colony have come a long way from the dark days of begging.
Namaste.
Today, it is certainly not a sad place.
These people are so cut off from the outside world that they were clearly welcoming of a visitor like me. I felt an instant connect with them, especially with the women. आपकी बड़ी लड़की है?
बड़ी लड़की है।
I know that they have had a terrible time in the past. But today, their lives are different. When I heard their stories, I realized that they are not ordinary people. They are each a hero who has changed the fortune of their hamlet in a short span of time.
How do they do that? Well, like every good startup, they unveiled a new business plan. A few years ago, with the training and monetary assistance from the Sasakawa India Leprosy Foundation, the villagers set up a dairy farm. It was a difficult idea to start with. To hope that there would be a demand for milk that was supplied by cured leprosy patients was a big risk considering the mindset of society at large. But they stuck to their task. Today they may not have captured the local market, but they have found enough buyers to sustain a livelihood. Their efforts have won them the Rising to Dignity Award by the Sasakawa India Leprosy Foundation.
These people were given a chance, and that's all they needed from the outside world. And that opportunity has changed them from beggars to milk suppliers.
As evening fell, the village got together to celebrate their recently won award.
In no time they had me dancing with them, although they were doing a much better job than me. I think it's a perfect start to my journey and a perfect start to my social media posts. I hope you enjoyed this journey as much as I did. And as you can see, all these people needed was a chance. So as mainstream society, I request you to please open your mind and to realize that leprosy isn't as terrible as it was made out to be in the past.
Leprosy has been a known disease for millennia. It finds mention in our Vedas as Kusht Rog, as it was called in Sanskrit. Because there was no cure in the early years, the disease spread unchecked and untreated. It was known as the living death. But today that has totally changed. Now doctors can cure the disease quickly and completely.
Today we know what causes leprosy and we also know how to treat it. We have multi-drug therapy, and taking a full course of it, which lasts about 12 months, can completely cure it. We have a leprosy vaccine with the potential to reduce the incidence of new cases. It's the only vaccine in the world for leprosy, and it's been completely developed in India by Indian scientists. Very soon we should be using it in our program. And so we can actually look forward to a world where we can completely eliminate leprosy.
The leprosy bacteria was discovered back in 1873. Scientific studies proved that the bacteria affects the peripheral nerves, skin, upper respiratory tract, eyes and the lining of the nose. Leprosy causes muscle weakness and loss of sensation in the arms and legs, especially in the extremities. People with long-term leprosy may lose the use of their hands or feet due to repeated traumatic injury resulting from this lack of sensation. If left untreated, it can lead to permanent damage to the skin, nerves, eyes and limbs. But the scenario is completely different today.
I think we have to get rid of all the old wives' tales and the misconceptions about leprosy. It's not genetic, it's not hereditary. You don't get it by casual contact or by touching somebody with leprosy. It's a completely treatable, curable disease. When given antibiotics, we can kill off most of the bacteria within a day or two. The person is completely not infectious. So it's very important to detect and treat early. Leprosy treatment is completely free and available at government centers everywhere across the country. Usually the earliest symptom of leprosy is a patch on the skin which is a different color than the rest of the skin and which loses sensation. So anybody who has a suspicion of a patch where the sensation is missing should go to a doctor right away and have it checked.
That's exactly right. It's like my hand, my diagnosis was delayed and I developed this deformity. Now, that's the exact problem, because there are a lot of people who have late diagnosis and they develop the deformity, and there are people who have been diagnosed with the disease and they try to hide it, and then the matter gets worse.
In her next journey, Jayashree will witness the tragic impact of such neglect. She is now headed into the heart of Andhra Pradesh, to the town of Anantapur. Here she finds a region that is fairly urban and somewhat more prosperous. But like many leprosy colonies, this one is also tucked away out of the town's boundary.
Once again, I was given a wonderful welcome, and everyone in the colony came out to meet me. But my focus was on a young girl who stood out from the rest of the members. This was Aruna, who at the tender age of 17 had seen more sadness than most people. She had a sense of, despondency in her, like somewhere there was a kind of, I would have to use some words like melancholy. I saw her, she was trying to hide her hands, both her hands. And something about her body language, something about the way she was trying to hide her hands, and that look in her eyes. She has beautiful brown eyes, and something about the look in her eyes, I just instantly reached out to her, and I kind of felt a connect with her. Because I think I was just a little over her current age when I had leprosy. I have lived many years trying to hide my hand, feeling bad about it. I had the same sense of some kind of despondency inside me, which I saw in her.
Aruna contracted leprosy at the age of 13, but her family neglected the symptoms till too late. As the disease grew within her and she began showing physical deformities, her family's neglect now changed to fear. Succumbing to societal pressure, her family turned against her. Aruna was left with very few options.
I think family plays the most important role, because you don't turn to anybody else when you have trouble. You turn to your family. And if the family doesn't accept, then you have reached like a dead end. She left her home and came to live in the colony, where it's not that she found happiness, but then she was among people who also have suffered leprosy. So that was the only silver lining in her story in the colony. And that's the situation in which I met Aruna.
Even though Aruna is being looked after in this colony, there is no doubt that the poor girl's life has been simply turned upside down. Jayashree can't help thinking that if it wasn't for a few fortunate circumstances, she could have been in the same situation as Aruna. It brings back disturbing memories.
I remember when I, had a sense of that I must be having leprosy, and I was coming back from the library where I discovered the symptoms are about leprosy, and I remember standing in front of my house and wondering whether I can enter the house. That I thought that if they tell me not to enter the house, I have to turn back and go away. And I remember that moment, it's like a movie in front of my eyes. And that happened to her. I only imagined it could happen to me. And I found the same reflection of probably my expression in her eyes, which was actually a sense of traveling back in time. It's something which you can't really put it into words. And that is the kind of grief that I saw in her, and I could revisit my grief and see the similar, like a mirroring of the grief.
Later that afternoon, Jayashree sat with Aruna to understand her story a bit better.
Class 1, class 2.
Class government school.
In many ways, the tragedy was not that Aruna had leprosy. The real tragedy was what society had done to Aruna. डॉक्टर के पास ले गए, आपके जैसे ही था, जैसे आपका लाइफ है, कुछ चीजें मेरे लाइफ में भी हुआ, आप मेरे से थोड़ी कम थी.
It was one of the first times that Aruna has spoken about her experiences in detail. It was only natural that she became emotional. Hers was a heartbreaking story.
And she wanted to die. At the time she wanted to die.
She wanted to die. She wanted to end her life. ऐसा लगा ना आपको?
She wanted to suicide.
बहुत दुख लगा होता है ना. जब अपने ही खुद के लोग जैसे हमको रिजेक्ट करते हैं, तो फिर छोटी बच्ची थी ना. sad as it was, I think this is one story that had to be told. I wish Aruna did not have to go through what she went through. It was an easily avoidable situation. I wish Aruna had a family which understood and did not have bias towards leprosy. But all is not lost. There is still hope and transformation available for Aruna and hundreds of people like her.
Today, the Sasakawa India Leprosy Foundation, or S-ILF, is working towards this transformation.
S-ILF was founded by Mr. Yohei Sasakawa, who is the chairman of the Nippon Foundation of Japan. Mr. Sasakawa is also the UN Goodwill Ambassador for leprosy. He devoted the last 40 years of his working life to the eradication of leprosy around the world. In his visits to the different countries, and in particular India, he realized that the fight against leprosy would not be won by only concentrating on the medical treatment. He often likens the struggle for eradication of leprosy to be the two wheels of a motorcycle. The front wheel is the medical field. The second wheel is that of social and economic integration. Sasakawa India Leprosy Foundation is the only organization in India and perhaps in the world which focuses on the social and economic rehabilitation of leprosy-affected people and their families. We have decided very early on to make leprosy-affected people the center of our work. It's very easy to tell people who are poor, downtrodden, who have nothing in their lives, who are begging for their survival. It's very easy to tell them what to do, and far more difficult to listen to them as to what they want to do. So we decided that we would respond to the needs and aspirations of leprosy-affected people in the best way that we could. Clearly, there was a great desire for dignity. There was a great desire to regain their place in mainstream society. So began our livelihood program. This is our flagship program. This is where we concentrate most of our energies. S-ILF comes in to provide them training as well as financial opportunities to set up micro-enterprises. We handhold them till such time that they're able to stand on their feet and take forward the projects or the enterprises. In these 8 years, we have reached out to about 200 colonies. We are running to more than 250 projects, and we have been directly able to benefit more than 2,500 people. Our second vertical is education, and we've called this program Step Up, Skills to Employment Program. This program addresses mainly the youth by providing them entry-level skill training. Up to now, we've been able to train 600 such youngsters and provide placements to nearly 300. It's one of the reasons why we insisted on getting Jayashree to visit some of these centers where the children are being educated, so she could see for herself the kind of change that was being brought about in the lives of such people. Recently, we started the Dalai Lama Sasakawa Scholarship to fund these children to take up professional courses. I'm proud to say that we are funding 28 such scholars to pursue professional studies. And in the years to come, we are going to see architects, engineers, chartered accountants, lawyers, artists from leprosy colonies.
My last journey takes me to meet a remarkable person who has managed to script a unique story. I'm going to be traveling to the city of Kolhapur. The leprosy colony in Kolhapur is similar to the ones I visited. The difference is in the person I'm going to be meeting. आपको मालूम है मुझे भी लेप्रोसी हुआ?
हाँ।
हाँ, तो मेरे हाथ में भी उसके निशान हैं।
मुझे पता चला जब भी आपके हाथ में हाथ डाला तभी पता चला कि आपको
पता चल जाता है ना?
पता चल जाता है।
तो this is Maya Ranavre. Her being affected by leprosy hasn't stopped her in any way. She is the first woman who is representing 58 leprosy colonies in the state of Maharashtra. She is also on the board of Association of People Affected by Leprosy. Meeting Maya Ranavre was, remarkable. This is a woman who has impacted thousands of people affected by leprosy. तभी घर में कौन-कौन मिलेंगे? She first took me to her home to meet her two lovely daughters.
मेरा तो बचपन यही गया है, पैदा भी मैं यही हुई हूँ। मेरे माँ बाप दोनों ही लेप्रोसी थे। जब स्कूल में सब बच्चों के साथ खेलते थे तो हमको खेलने कोई नहीं लेता था, हमारे साथ टिफ़िन कोई नहीं खाता था, क्योंकि हमको ऐसे बोल रहे थे कि ये लेप्रोसी के बच्चे हैं, इनके साथ मत बैठो, इनका खाना मत खाओ। जब वो सब लोग ऐसे चिढ़ाते थे और ऐसे बोलते थे तो हमको बहुत बुरा लगता था। तो हम ऐसे कुछ करेंगे कि हमारे लड़कियों को कोई ऐसे टोकेगा नहीं। फिर हमने एक महिला मंडल बनाया।
Maya's social work is what makes her so powerful. She was once invited by a college to give a talk, and in the talk she revealed that her daughter Jayashree was a student of the same college. Now, instead of being prejudiced, the college took it very positively.
टीचर वगैरह थे वो सब घर में आए मेरे। उन्होंने तेजस्विनी को बोला कि आपको मम्मी को खाना बनाए और हम सब खाना खाने आ जाएंगे। ऐसा कभी नहीं लगता था कि मैं इतना अच्छा उनको शिक्षा या परवरिश दे पाऊंगी और मुझ में भी इतना बदलाव आएगा, ये मुझे नहीं लगता था कि ऐसा होगा।
Being with Maya was great fun. She insisted I come along with her to see some of the kind of work that they are doing in the surrounding areas. Before I knew it, I was sitting on her scooter and whizzing past the streets of Kolhapur. Maya's story is truly inspirational. It's remarkable to see the kind of success she and her team have created out of hard work and also a drive for excellence.
Today, with the help of S-ILF, she and some of the men from the colony are running a tile-laying venture.
They started small, but by hard work and insistence on quality, they've reached a place where customers seek them out. And today they are busy all the time. I loved my time with Maya, didn't you?
For Jayashree, this journey was an eye-opener. It left her more determined than ever to convince as many people as she could to fight the stigma faced by leprosy-affected people.
You will agree that all it takes to eradicate leprosy is a leprosy-free mind. Let's all do it together. Take a pledge to make minds leprosy-free. It's just a click away. Visit S-ILF.in.
Leprosy is fully curable. Spread the word.